So E3 2017 is here, and I just finished watching the Microsoft press conference. It's been the one that I've been looking forward to the most because of them going up a day from when they usually do it, which would be the Mondays, and followed by Sony later on. Xbox decided to go a day earlier because they felt they had so much to show and they wanted to make sure that the talk was about them. So, we now know what Project Scorpio is. It's called the Xbox One X, which I should have guessed it because the last one was called the Xbox One S. But yeah, the Xbox One X is going to be coming soon in the fall. I'm not sure the exact date. I'm going to have to double check that. But we do know the price now, and it is $500. I was hoping that they would have came in at 400, but I also had it in my mind that if they could get it at 500, that was still doable, but nothing higher than that. And the way that Microsoft went at this conference was it was essentially showing their commitment to, I guess, this gaming culture. Ever since the last few years, when they first announced the Xbox One at the E3, and it just kind of bombed in terms of how they gave the message. Xbox has been changing its image around, kind of listening to fans and making all these changes. And while it hasn't closed the gap with PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 4 is so stellarly. But right now, Microsoft is kind of doing all the right things. As somebody who don't really have a stake in a console war, I like to see that because Microsoft has a lot of money, which is probably more, well, ain't no probably, significantly more than Sony or Nintendo. So this was kind of what was on display here. And the way they used their money was to say, hey, we're not just playing around. We're actually going to go at it. And they showed nearly 50 games all together. Tons of gameplay, over 20 exclusives, and that was a good look for them. And special shout out to Dragon Ball that leaked the other day with screenshots, but they showed a trailer during the Xbox conference that looked incredible. Got me really hyped. Another good thing that they showed there for the conference was that OG Xbox games will be being added to the backwards compatibility. That's a really good look. A lot of gamers haven't played it. They got a lot of guys, there's always a nostalgia factor there. And if it works like it does for the 360 games, then, Xbox is really nailing it as far as backwards compatibility goes. Something that Nintendo and Sony could probably learn from. If their backwards compatibility was like the Xbox's, they would murder the Xbox because of the insane libraries that they have. But needless to say, the games that they showed at this press conference pretty much covered the whole spectrum of different types of gamers, and that's what I liked. It could almost be perceived as a weakness though, that there wasn't a tentpole, look like a system seller, I guess I want to say. Not a system seller that was exclusive to Xbox there. But instead what I saw was just a variety of games for every type of gamer. They showed games from Japan. I even saw a new 3D platformer there, 2D platformers, shooters, a lot of co-op type deals, a lot of story-driven stuff. Metro looked amazing. Forza looked amazing. The last game that they showed, which was called Anthem, just graphically blew my mind. Now, mind you, I was watching the conference on my home TV, which is a Black Friday level 1080p, just the cheapest form of TV you can have. And Anthem just looked like I was almost watching Avatar, and I was shocked at the graphical fidelity of it. It looks like they might be going for that Destiny space. I wish it would have been like a story driven thing, but they did have some story there, and BioWare's making it. So if anybody could kind of come into that space and give that deeper story, BioWare's those guys. But like I'm saying, the variety of games really, really impressed me here. And we're not even talking about them leaning on games that are like tent poles for their company, like a Gears or a Halo. In fact, I think the biggest games with the most name recognition that are kind of aligned with Xbox would be Forza and Crackdown 3. And even then, they didn't get an insane amount of attention. They kind of led off with Forza, the newest Forza game, which of course all the Forza games are really good. But and Crackdown 3 got some attention, but it wasn't like a tentpole thing. It just showed the immense diversity. But I was hoping that I was gonna see something, one title at least that had a heavy story focus that was maybe done by a first party studio. I didn't necessarily get that, but all the third party support is there. There are a ton of single player games that are going to be available that they showed. Don't get me wrong, it's there, but some people be looking for that Horizon, that Uncharted, that Last of Us type of game with the narrative and the big budget visuals. And I didn't necessarily see that as far as from a Microsoft first party publisher. But outside of that, I think it was a stellar press conference. Um, like the most important thing is that commitment. Sometimes when I watch these companies and I follow games all the time, I'll see how they position themselves and I get a little nervous on if they're actually committed to staying in the fight. And at a time, I was kind of like that for Microsoft. But to my surprise, despite the fact that they're losing, if you're saying winning is in terms of the most units sold, that they're losing, significantly, they came out like, yeah, we're going to be here. So Sony and Nintendo, they have to kind of bring their best as the years go by, because between the money and this reputation repairing that Microsoft's doing, they're going to be here. And now it's where this is the definitive, probably the cheapest way for you to get the highest level graphics, on your TV. I mean, it definitely is. It's more powerful than the PS4 Pro. But, to get that level of graphics on a PC, you might be spending double that. And even then, you're going to have to be tweaking the game. So you get the benefits of console gaming along with those sick graphics that, we tend to love. And graphics don't mean everything. And not every game they showed, was just a visual showcase. But games like State of Decay 2, I mean, it looked like a true Walking Dead simulator. And I mean that in a very positive way. Um, that new 3D platformer, I thought it looked cool. I have kids. And then, we don't have too many 3D platformers. I know Ukulele wasn't received that well, so that's a good look for them too. And it's also good for them to be showing these games that are clearly made in Japan, to show that, hey, we ain't forgot about you on that aspect too. What I'm assuming it's gonna do for a lot of the games that are already out is gonna be on the developers on if they want to patch in, the new system support to get the true 4K. And that's an important thing to note too. I mean, the PS4 Pro, some games do run at 4K. A lot of them are the remastered PS3 games. But with this One X, like, they can truly take a game and run it in 4K. without no compromises, and that's impressive for $500. Well, I would never really justify paying anything higher than 500. This might be a substantial enough upgrade. But like I say, if I had to give them a grade, it would be like a low A or B plus. Because like I said, I was looking for that one exclusive that was like, oh, here we go. Here's the challenger for all those story-driven exclusives that PlayStation has. But, despite them not necessarily having that, I think this was about as good of a showing as they could possibly have. $500. I'm not sure what the memory size is with that. I'm not even showing the exact release date. But based on a guy like me who likes to play a variety of games, I'm definitely sold. These types of press conferences always renew my love for gaming. And it's probably my most expensive habit. I'm always grabbing stuff on sale. But it's not just what they showed at this press conference. Like I say, I've enjoyed my Xbox One over the years. The way they've added backwards compatibility, the stableness of their online structure. They did a 180 on pretty much everything. And Xbox is kind of back in the game. So I'm anxious to see how Sony and Nintendo responds to it. If they blow away Xbox now, then that means they have something really special. But I'll definitely be getting an Xbox One X and a 4K TV, like a really nice one. I want to take advantage of it. And I think this new era of getting new consoles a lot sooner is a smart way for gaming to go. I mean, technology moves fast in America, and 3, 4 years, 5 years is long enough for a console cycle. This was a nice shot in the arm, so big ups to Xbox. I'll be hitting you back with another video on the other conferences later. Peace.